Hey, big cat, welcome to my therapy. This ain't your ordinary world, it's extraordinary. See, I'm a high priestess lightworker, here to guide your way through the waves of life. We'll find a new path to embrace. Tarot, astrology, numerology in our hands. No weapon formed against you shall ever stand. We're winners, we never quit, we always keep on going. Quitters never win, but we're always growing. Hey there, big cat, let's chase the highest vibration. Together we'll create a new world, a brand new nation.
Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat Water Signs. Welcome or welcome back to Big Cat Astrology, Big Cat Wave. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. The planetary hot topics to add to your almanac over the next 7 days. On the 7th of February, Ceres enters Capricorn. In astrology, Ceres is a nurturing asteroid associated with the parenting of something or someone from seed to harvest. In stable Capricorn, now is the perfect time for fresh beginnings as you're encouraged to initiate new projects, establish your identity and sow the seeds for the upcoming spring. You also have Mars in Capricorn sextiling Neptune in Pisces. Take charge of your creative pursuits and find inspiration to take decisive actions. Your imagination can propel you forward and your intuition can serve as your guide. On the 8th, the Sun in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus. This celestial alignment brings about eccentric, irritable and impulsive energy. Conflicts with romantic interests may arise and questions about your sexual orientation could surface. Relationships formed during this period are likely to end quickly. Exercise caution against impulsivity as there is also a risk for accidents. On the 9th, you have the new moon in Aquarius. Emotions take the lead to embark on a journey of increased independence and experimentation. Seize the moment to build futures that others only dream of. It's an ideal time to assert yourself and connect with a robust network to help you thrive and work towards your future. On the 10th, Mercury in Aquarius squares Jupiter in Taurus. This planetary configuration may lead to stubbornness, carelessness, haste, and unreliability. Changes in your perspective may occur. It's not an ideal time for medical appointments, applying for institutions of higher learning, or making travel arrangements. Exercise caution and refrain from signing any form of legal documentation during this period. Be vigilant on the road while driving, darling dears, or as a pedestrian. On the 11th, the moon in Pisces sextiles Jupiter in Taurus. This is an excellent time to gather with your family. Business opportunities abound and significant earnings can be achieved. It's a delightful time to enhance your living space or explore property purchases nearer the sea or moving nearer the sea. Romance, international travel or adopting a furry friend for companionship is also favoured during this period. On the 12th, the moon in Pisces sextiles Mars in Capricorn. This aspect enhances your ability to communicate effectively with the opposite sex. Positive work relationships will flourish and you'll be motivated to accomplish more. You'll also feel inspired to engage in more physical activities. On the 13th, Mars enters Aquarius, channeling your energies towards independence, driving you to achieve success based on your own merit. Embrace your originality, develop a flair for technical matters, and remain open to new ideas. In the matters of love, you'll be drawn to extraordinary people or partners. Be cautious about appearing too bossy or boastful. Please stay tuned in for the tarot reading to follow. Big Cat Wave! big cat water signs. Welcome, or welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555. My name is Case. For your messages or massages for the next 7 days. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, big cat wave. Let's dive in, darling dears, and unpack. Oh, you have a 3, darling dears. The energy of the 1 tells you to what? Evaluate everything and not to make any major decisions until after the next new moon, which will be on the 9th of February. It will be the new moon in Aquarius at 20 degrees and 40 minutes. Yes, darling dears, don't make no major decisions until then. It also says pay attention to the fine print of any contracts. Be careful of any deal or agreement that you sign over the next 7 days. The energy of the 2 also speaks about what? Luck is still smiling at you, darling dears. This is going to also be a fortunate 7 days for you. Why? Because it's an adventure. You could be having travel plans, darling dears. They're going to go well. It's also about you getting compliments. People are going to be giving you gifts, darling dears, compliments. Gifts could be in the form of what? Intel, darling dears. Big cat always has their ears wide open and their third eye buffed up to a very bright shine, darling dears. The energy of the 3. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Your birthday could be the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th. Or that's a significant number in your life, darling dears. You're an artist, and this is what? Divine gifting you with a canvas. Why? The number 3 rules the letters C, L, and U, and the number 3 is also ruled by Jupiter, darling dears. Okay, Jupiter rules the letters, good golly and gosh, come through, bestie, C, G, L, and S. So you have C, L, U, and C, G, L, and S, darling dears. Jupiter is about abundance and growth. Jupiter rules travel, darling dears, foreign lands, foreign people. It also speaks about higher education. Somebody's seeking higher education, and someone has also what? Gone to a different level in their spiritual journey. Somebody may even be going as far as to what? Publish their works, darling dears, whether it's in book form or on the internet. Maybe it's a blog or a vlog, or the epiphany that you've come to, darling dears. It also speaks about the higher courts. If you have an issue with a higher court situation, it's about to go in your favor. Why? The number 2 is there, darling dears. I told you what's going on. The energy of the 3 is ruled by the aspect a trine, darling dear. So it's about you creating new opportunities with your natural God-given talent, darling. Love it. I don't hate it. It's about, there's something unexpected about to happen in your hemisphere over the next 7 days as well, darling dears. You may not be 100% happy with the outcome, but you have to remember, life is about what? Lessons, darling dears. It's about you getting the lesson. Remember, you've got to take 2 L's, right? The lesson, then you learn, right? And then you go straight to the 2 W's, wisdom and a win. Fist bump. Love it. I don't hate it. The energy of the 1, 2, darling dears. It speaks about what? Somebody from the past will be time traveling into your hemisphere. Maybe they'll come to visit you, or you will buck up on them. That's Jamaican terminology for meet them by chance. Yeah, along your journeys, because you are definitely traveling, darling dears. I must also caution you, be careful of accidents while driving or even as a pedestrian. Keep all eyes open. And if you're wearing the earphones or the headphones or whatever it is, it doesn't have to be at full blast, darling. Because I know you're trying to block out the outside noise so you can hear yourself, but good God, you've got to think of safety first. You don't even know who's coming up behind you. Good God, no, I perish the thought, darling dears. We're done with that shiznai. It's not fabulous, gorgeous, and lovely. The energy of the 3 is represented by the Empress, the Hangman, and the World card. It speaks about growth within relationships, darling dears. Some of you are going to be going into new groups where you're able to what? Speak your truth. Roof, pinkies up. This is about you being able to be your authentic self. The number 3, as I said, is ruled by Jupiter, darling dears, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the house of higher learning. Love it. I don't hate it. Okay. So the energy of the Empress, the Hangman, Empress, knowing your worth. This is about abundance. Hangman, seeing things from a different perspective, letting go. World card, closing one chapter in order to open a new book. Somebody's definitely publishing, darling dears, putting something out there in the hemisphere for someone to what? Take heed of their words. Your words are a testimony, darling dears, and it's the culmination for some of spiritual ascension and awakening. Ooh, child, love it. Right, let's see what your oracle. I'm gonna go with the life lessons. It fell into my little hand, so I'm gonna go with the life lessons for the air signs. Ooh. Just getting the card for Jupiter, because this is your overall theme throughout the week, darling. This is about expansion, and expansion comes through knowledge. It comes through experience, darling dears. And look, what did I say? Jupiter is abundance, and it's on a number 7. 7 is a highly spiritual number, darling dears. It speaks about what? Manifestation mode. This is analyzing a situation, gaining wisdom, what we just discussed, darling dears, a new understanding of self. The 7 is ruled by a semi-sextile. This is what? Healing and transformation. This is a transformative journey for you over the next 7 days, darling dears. But it's also you finding your feet after ending some kind of a cycle. But it's about groups, moving from one group that's not for you to another, darling dears. Love it. So your overall theme is Jupiter. Okay, so to keep this momentum going, darling dears, your luckiest days over the next 7 days will be Sunday and Thursday. And Jupiter, its frequency, its music frequency is 852 hertz. Play some of that, darling dears, and get your mind and your chakras right as you balance out, and you are in what? Acceptance mode for whatever the universe is about to bless you with, darling dears. But as I said, beware of signing contracts. There's a specific date, darling dears. I'm sure you watch the astrology read first, darling dears, because I always put it out with the tarot reading. But anyway, I digress. Let's press on and see what the life lesson is. What does your ancestors want you to know? You've got options, darling dears. Yes, baby. And it also speaks about what? Karma. You are somebody's karma if you've weighed them up. If it's a legal situation, as I said, we already saw the higher courts. It's about to go in your favor. Could be HR. Could be something as much as a criminal case, darling dears. Maybe somebody wanted you locked up. Or you've got a habeas corpus on them, darling dears. Consider the career possibilities that are open to you. And it also speaks about a career change. That could also represent the change of group, darling dears. All right. What else have you got? Time to decide. Make a decision, darling dears. And when you make a decision, sometimes you feel sad and you're uncertain. You may even cry over the decision you made. But it's all about your ascension. I'm telling you, this is an upliftment of you, darling dears, as the universe celebrates you. The energy of the 3 is ruled by the 3rd house. This is Gemini energy, Mercury. Mercury is of what? Short distance. It's also neighbors and siblings. People that did they count you out? They counted out your intellect. This is cousins, darling dears, siblings, aunts, uncles, family members. They didn't understand your method of learning. Something to do with your early education, darling dears. I've put all of the 48 laws of power into the astrological houses. So the 3rd house is about law number 3, conceal your intentions, big cat move in silence, fist bump, tell no one nothing. Law number 11, crush your enemies decisively, darling dears. Yeah, why? Because a snake only sheds its skin to become a bigger snake, darling dears. Once they've painted a picture for you, darling dears, you don't need what? No extra copies of said picture. Believe what your eye chakras and your intuitions are telling you. You are a water sign after all. You've also got what? Law 21, play a soccer to catch a sucker. Law number 41, avoid unnecessary conflict. Why? The wicked will try to draw you back to the pits of hell. Where's that? The crevice of the devil's balls, darling dears. When they see that you're breaking away, leaving a group to go to another. And law number what? 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. So if you've had a what? A group mentality. What's this? What do they call it? Gang stalking, a horde mentality, whatever it is, darling dears. Go for the head honcho, the one with the biggest mouth. Why? They've got the biggest insecurities and they are living in projection mode. Remember I told you that. All right. Yeah, energy healing. You're balancing out your chakras. I told you this is a spiritual ascension for you, darling dears. Some of you are using yoga. I heard Pilates, whatever. It's one of them P's, blood. But this is also about you learning to meditate. And as I said, for your meditation, we've got the energy of Jupiter. That's the 852 hertz. Many videos of that on YouTube, darling dears. This music will help you balance out yourself. And there's a different frequency for each different planet and day of the week, darling dears. Remember I told you that. Anything I tell you, darling dears, is for you to what? Become a keyboard gangster. Don't just take my word, research. Because as you build on one, you build on another, and knowledge is power. And it's something that cannot be taken from you. Why? Because the energy of the three, right, is about conflict, nerve-wracking time. As someone or someone sees your path is about to change, listening to your intuition, darling dears. Ooh, child, they don't like it. They don't like it. They can't do nothing about it, darling dears. You're a big cat. You've got the energy of what? Abundance. You've got Jupiter. Jupiter is for growth and expansion. You can't stay the same. And you can't be around people that are not helping build your greatness. And not in the sense that you are the master and they're the lackey, darling dears. If they've got a feeble mind and they're dull-eyed and they're long-eyed, pardon me, spiritual belch, because it's just the truth. It's the truth roof. Pinkies up, I speaks it. No time for the low vibing, darling dears. This is realizing that you are different people from the person or people you've been around of late. And you're not putting up with it. How about that? Oh, I touched this deck first. I'm going to go with it. Single and independent, darling dears. Knowing your worth and adding tax. I love it. I don't hate it. Nine of Pentacles speaks about self-reliance, listening to your higher mind, being guided. Your grass is green, but it's also the potential of the 9 going to the Queen and then up to the Empress or Emperor, darling dears. This is about you watering your own grass, avoiding drama.com, darling dears. Oh yes, the feeble-minded will come out. They will jump off the spiritual short bus just to come and fuck with you, darling dears. Remember, not every battle must you attend. You are on a different path, one of your own choosing, self-reliant. Yeah, all of this and that, bestie. All of this and that. Let's see what your work and finances are like over the next 7 days. Work and finances for my water signs. Yeah, somebody's turning their back on a temporary toxic situation. It could be a world travel, or they're traveling to a new destination, darling dears. But the 2 of Wands always comes with what? Put your back into it. Blood, brah, or sistrine. This is, yes, you've got the idea, but now is the time to strike while the iron's hot. And again, the Wands represent what? Spirituality, darling dears. This is about you being driven, motivated to go after your ambitions with strength and power. Somebody's taking a risk, darling dears. Others may think you're being dramatic, but you're not. This is about what? Self-reliance. With Jupiter energy at your back, you must expand, darling dears. Yeah, not worrying about what they're saying behind you, darling dears. It also speaks about somebody's deciding that they're never going to work for someone else ever again. You felt the spiritual attacks, you felt bogged down, you felt like you was on a hamster wheel. This is an awakening to your existence, darling dears. Yeah, you know what doesn't make you happy, emotionally fulfilled. Yeah. And for some of you, you've been taking out that energy on the people mostest closest to you, darling dears. Yes. Slick talking, projection, maybe even a bit of gaslighting. But it was part of your spiritual ascension. You had to realize that you was a nuclei in a situation, and you can change any time. You're letting go of certain workplaces, darling dears, certain groups, in order to what? Raise your vibration and go after your ambitions and dreams. What you're seeking is seeking you. Two of Cups, emotional, darling. Listen to your intuition and your discernment. The Two of Cups comes to you with clarity, darling dears. You're going to be interacting with new people, but it's also a reminder to keep that air of mystery. You don't have to tell anybody all your business or what happened before you got to that situation or circumstance. Some of you are going to be using divination. Yeah, well, if you need a reading, hit me up in the Gmail, darling dears. Yeah, my intel is in the description box below. Yeah, because you don't want to go into situations that you're wasting your time, your energy, and your good tears, darling dears. Listen, I don't care what the relationship is, whether it's a workforce, a friendship, a marriage, siblings, progenies, friends, whatever. If you're crying all the time and upset, darling dear, that's a funeral, blood. While you're alive. No. You're making the right choices for you. This is a trustful. And again, we get the energy of what? Gemini, Mercury energy, darling dears. This is about you using your intellect and your intuition to what? Put you on the good foot to a situation that you truly deserve. More fitting. And again, Emperor in reverse. Somebody's leaving a job. They've had quite enough, but you will never work for another person again. This is about entrepreneurship, darling dears. This is the remaking of ideas that you previously had, but bringing them to the forefront and being focused. Because when you focus on something, darling dears, night and day, but not only that, as I told you many times, it takes 18 minutes a day to become a master in your field, darling dears. 18 minutes a day for 1 year. You'll be what? Smarter than 95% of the population, in a position to what? Give advice, guidance. But never forget, my water sign, you are also an eternal student. Anyone who says they know everything is a fool. And fools will be surrounded by what? Foolishness. What about those that are single, my single water signs? What are the messages for you? Yeah, you've come to a conclusion, darling dears. You ain't chasing nothing that's not chasing you, darling dears. And you don't want to be chased. Swords energy again, clarity of a situation. The Knight of Swords always comes with a message, darling dears. Somebody feels stuck. It also speaks about, somebody feeling stuck in a situation, but this is what? It was the holding point for you to get the gusto to move forward. And it also speaks about a message. And again, it's travel, darling dears. Somebody who's unsuccessful is going to try and come back. They want to come back around, but you said what you said in your Nini Leaks voice, darling dears. Somebody wants to come back and unsingle you again. The same one that gossiped about you. Tongue wrestled with what? The feeble-minded, darling dears. Told all your business. Yeah, created nothing but instability in your life, your finances. They was reckless with your time. All they got to offer you is what? Dick, darling dears, dick. And who won that? Nobody. Listen, the singles are standing on what they said, and you're making people stand on what they said and did, darling dears. These manipulative manifestors, darling dears. You're what? Futuristic thinking. You know your worth and you've added tax. Listen to your intuition, telling yourself the truth. You come with clarity, darling dears. Some of you are going to be getting a platform using your past experiences. What? To guide others. Remember I told you that. Page of Swords. Whoever you're leaving in the past, they're upset and they're watching you. They've gone from what? Hidden enemy, darling dears, that was up close in your face, right? To what? Watching from a distance, darling dears. They've turned into what? A hillbilly investigator. Well, someone has to watch the throne, darling dears. Better them than you. Self-realization, darling dears. Yeah. Come to the conclusion that if someone shows you who they are, you're believing them. You're not waiting for no picture to be repainted. Yeah. For those in a relationship, you have a decision to make, darling dears. What is this decision? Some kind of a burden, one's energy again. Yeah, something that's been effing with you every which way except loose, darling dears. Making a decision, feeling unsuccessful. This is somebody who feels their partner is Their partner's living a single life. Somebody feels like they're in a situation with someone. If you're married and you've got children, you're a single parent, darling dears. Yeah, Three of Swords. Feeling heartbroken, but this is someone who's about to what? Step up to the plate. Realize they'd rather do bad by themselves. Good golly and gosh. Yeah, the progeny aren't happy either. And they said as much, darling dears. I think you're going to make a decision based on your children's well-being. Yep, King of Swords. You don't want that other fickle person in your life. Knight of Wands, darling dears. It was a difficult decision, but you are what? Going to close your eyes. It was a long time coming. Yeah, Chariot energy moving forward. Cancer energy being successful, darling dears. It could also speak about what? Someone would rather live in their car than live with this person. Transformation of the joint finances. Remember I told you, well, I didn't tell you this time, but I've told you many times, the 8th house is the house of what? Joint finances, other people's money, reproduction, but it's also death and rebirth, darling dears. It's the house of karmic debt and karma. Somebody's definitely letting go of a situation with someone who's a liar, no longer wanting to be what? Tied to a hoodwinker. That's 3 pages. You could have as many as 2-3 children involved in a situation, but this was not a love match. Why were they there? Because of the security you offer, darling dears. Well, obviously you met each other to what? Because everything is divinely guided, and it's all in your Akashic records. It was a soul contract, darling dears. You had to meet this person. Why? You was there to show them what true love, loyalty, support, right? All of those lovely jubbly things. You was there to show them what that was, right? And they came into your life with their soul contracts to show you that not everybody deserves that level of attention and care. You've learned discernment, darling dears. And this could also represent, maybe you're living in your car or packing up your chariot of righteousness to move, but you're moving to a new home or apartment, a more stable foundation. What did I say? Moving away from the trauma and drama of it all, but this is emotional healing. You're leaving the 8th cup, darling dears, to go and find your 9th. Transformation is on its way. Right. Looks like no one's taking anything right. They don't want that bad energy. You're sending it out. And you're not playing spiritual ping pong. Just saw 22 on the counter. Darling dears. It speaks about what? You need to find balance. Why? Because karma is afoot, darling dears. Yeah, the next card is what you need to be aware of. The manipulation tactics of others, darling dears. Jupiter, if you allow it back in, right, it will expand. You have to decide what you want in your future. Queen of Wands is about you, what? Turning your back on situations that don't. With logic, darling dears, listening to your intuition and discernment. Some of you may even be readers, darling dears. Somebody tried to manipulate you out of what? Your next best step. Maybe you're online. Beware of people trying to come through and distract you. There's a lot of negative thoughts at your back, darling dears. You're building something big, but it's about your emotional maturity. The 3 of Pentacles could also speak about a marriage or relationship, darling dears. Yeah, that came with the shade. The person you was with was a hidden enemy. That's why they're blocked. If it's a friendship, family member, you had to learn the lesson. What was the overall lesson of the week? Yeah. Leave those that what? Cut to the white meat where they are. Don't allow anyone to what? Repaint a different picture of themselves in your life. Why? The old picture will always bleed through and come out on top, darling dears. Take the lesson. That is what the lesson is. Take the lesson of what situations past. Swords energy is about look at the logic. Take the lesson from the situation, get wisdom, and continue to move forward to your wins, darling dears. Your wins. It's not a loss, darling dears. You have the option to what? Decide what you want going on in your hemisphere and what path your life is going to take. On that note, I drops me mic. Toddle over to my Teesprings, my Patreon, or my TikToks. The Teesprings is for the channel merch. If you'd like a personal read, please hit me up in the Gmail. All of my intel is in the description box below. Thank you very much, bestie, for your continued support of me and this channel and the messages that I come through with on a regular. Why? We're besties, darling dears, like Thelma and Louise, without the chelation. Pinkies up. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Big Cat Wave. Until we meet again on these tarot streets. Cat, 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 cat.
How you came to be is no longer a mystery. Black sheep is your birthright. It's code for the one who brings the light. I bet if there's a crack, you don't fall back. Remember who you are. No rest for the wicked with their skullduggery. The use spell workers' projection to send out envy, hate, and jealousy. You are the prototype, your ancestors champion. They shield you and send back those spiritual attacks. You are divinely protected from the dummy bats. Yeah. Big Cat, the most high, got your back. He sits high and looks low, so don't get smoked or smoke yourself. Big Cat moving silence. Only time you speak is to say checkmate.